Thank you, Wendy, and good morning for everyone. Okay, we are continuously interacting with people who may have different interests, principles, values, different point of view, different ways of understanding work, and also different attitudes and emotions. And these differences often fall into conflict. What's conflict? Conflict is a process that originates when a person perceives that another person has affected or is about to affect some of his or her objectives of interest. So in this webinar, through a fictitious project case, where the main members of the team have important differences in style and personality, we will try to unveil the main motives and interests of each one of them, and we'll discover that some conflicts can be easily prevented if we are aware of that differences in style. So, through self-knowledge, self-awareness, and knowledge of the other people, and then generate positive interrelationships and good climate in the project, we can prevent conflicts. Conflict management is a skill that will allow us to significantly improve not only our project and our work, but also our family and social life. We will better understand the human beings with whom we have to interact day after day. We will begin talking about some effects of conflict in projects, and then we will recreate some situations of conflict in projects through the analysis of this hypothetical case named the Starfield project. After that, we will try to understand and know the parties involved in the conflict of this hypothetical case to finish talking about some tools that help us to prevent and manage conflict. I want to begin this presentation showing you the results of this study made by Gallup in 155 countries. The name of the study is The State of the Global Workplace. It's not actually about projects, but workplace in general, but it's really surprising, at least for me. Worldwide, the percentage of adults who work full-time for an employer and are really engaged at work is just 15%. It means that only 15% of employees are highly involved and enthusiastic about their work and workplace, just 15%. So 85% of employees worldwide are not engaged or are actively disengaged in their job. The low percentage of engaged employees represents a barrier to creating high-performance cultures in teams around the world. But even worse, 22% are actively disengaged. They are unhappy, unproductive, and propagate negativity and disturb the work of the rest. And that means that this 22% is a source of conflict, not only in the workplace, of course, in project too. Do you know what this figure, what represents these figures? %80 of employees were experiencing a conflict. This is the study of the workplace conflict made by Human Capital Report, the CPP, in 2008. And it said that 85% of employees were dealing with conflict, and this states that almost 3 hours per week they were dealing with conflict. This amounts to approximately $359 billion in paid hours. This is based in the workforce of the United States. So this is the amount spent because or waste because of conflict during 1 year in the United States. It's a really impressive cost because of conflict, bad managed conflict. Talking about projects, effects of conflict in projects. Conflict is even worse in the project environment due to the uncertainty and the uniqueness of the project result. As I said previously, conflict is a process that originates when a person perceives that another person has affected or is about to affect some of his or her objectives or interests. And when conflicts are not properly handled, they originate discomfort, stress, and real emotional damage. Conflict can generate highly undesirable results in projects. Tensions in the team relationships, waste of time, demotivation, staff rotation, low performance, bad working climate. For example, team members constantly argue in a bad way. Team members frequently contradict the leader's proposal. Managers constantly attack team's ideas. Collaborators have aggressive responses during meetings. And many other situations you can imagine. If we do nothing, it can be terrible stress for us and for the team too. And the results of the project will be affected, of course. Said that, let's begin with our case study, the STAR product project, and following a brief description of the case. Here you are, the project manager of the development of a new version of the STAR product of your company. The product has to go live to the market before the competition presents something similar. For strategic reasons of the company, the product must be launched and promoted during the International PM Day this year. The deadline to complete the project is really challenging. The project involves the design and development of the new product, the marketing campaign, and the product launch. You count into your team with 4 leaders in charge of the main deliverables the project involves. Carol, responsible for product design. Robert, responsible for product development. Victoria, in charge of the marketing campaign. And Andrew, responsible for launching and commissioning of the product. He will take over the operations when the product concludes. Now, we will know something about each one of these leaders. Please, try to discover which leader you are more similar to. Try to see if you can identify yourself with any of these leaders. Andrew, responsible for product launch. His value for being very kind, cooperative, tolerant, and patient. People find Andrew a pleasant and relaxed person. Andrew is always on the lookout for people to make sure everyone is well and considerate. On the other hand, Andrew is irritated by the insensibility of other people. Sometimes Andrew is indirect in his communications and takes more time to get to the specific point, especially when he has to communicate or what we have to communicate is something negative. Due to its strong interaction with people, its pace is somewhat slower. Robert, responsible for product development. He's a confident person, self-assured, who likes challenge and opportunities. Robert managed to get things done and the results achieved through the coordination of the team's work and other resources. He puts all his enthusiasm to get things done quickly and feels satisfied with this achievement. Robert is fast, direct, and expeditious. On the other hand, he can be impatient and even intolerant when people are inefficient, indecisive, and slow compared to himself. Victoria. Victoria is responsible for marketing campaigns. She's a person of principles, ethics, methodological, and professional.